Hey, everybody. It's Ken Dunek and Mark Eckel. It's the Bird Brains with Ken and Mark, talking about another interesting Eagles victory. And I do want to emphasize victory because I'm hearing a lot of complaints already about the Eagles offense. And my question to those people is, would you rather be 2-2 with the offense sizzling or 4-0 with what's going on? Everybody's going to pick 4-0, but we're going to get to that. We've got a jam-packed show. I want to jump in a really special guest I'll introduce in a minute. I want to get into what I anticipated was maybe the best sports day for television I can ever remember. And I'm going to give you my rankings, Mark, and you tell me if you agree. Number one was
up there that I don't care about.
Well, number one was the Eagles. Obviously, the Eagles always have to take precedence, and that was my favorite thing going on yesterday. Followed closely by the Ryder Cup. Now, even though the Americans were getting drilled, I know you don't care about it very much, but
people do. I understand.
They made it interesting. I'm a big golf guy, the Ryder Cup. The third, and usually this is my go-to if the Eagles aren't playing, is the Red Zone. I watch the Red Zone more than I watch regular games. You know, even though they've sprinkled in some advertisements this year, I just love the action. And then, I'm a big Cubs fan. I'm from Chicago. So for the Cubs to take fourth place of 4 sporting events, my remote finger is actually hurting today. I was switching the channels so much on my TV. So what did you think about Sunday jam-packed the sport, even if you didn't like the Ryder Cup? Because you have other football responsibilities with the Packers and a lot going on.
It was great. I never thought I'd be so interested on a Sunday. You know, it's every Sunday is great for football. I love the NFL. But yeah, the baseball, and we don't talk a lot of baseball here, but your Cubs had already clinched.
They did, but they needed home field. They actually got that on Saturday. So.
I know, like the Yankees in Toronto were tied. Cleveland and what a comeback! The Cleveland Guardians. I hate saying Guardians.
That was amazing too.
Most amazing comeback. The Mets fall apart. They don't. But all the biggest payroll in the league, second biggest. They don't make the playoffs.
A lot of Phillies fans are happy about that collapse.
A lot of fans everywhere but Long Island are happy about that. Like I said, the Yankees, Toronto, Cleveland, Detroit, the Reds and Mets. It was a fun. It was, and I like what baseball did. I don't usually like what baseball does a lot of times. Every game started at 3:00 Eastern time.
Well, that's for fairness because of the potential playoff implication, I guess, which was
you didn't know you couldn't like rest people knowing, oh well, the Mets lost. I can whatever, or the Yankees won, so I don't have to do this. No, I thought that was a great idea. So great day. But let's get back to the Eagles. Why are people complaining about wins?
Because we're spoiled. Yeah. That's why. And everybody wants everything perfect. And the Eagles, I believe, have won 10 games in a row now and defending Super Bowl champions. Really? You're going to complain about this? Really? Now, listen, everybody's getting paid. Tampa Bay's a really good team. They're tough at home. It was 100 degrees. Those guys are good. Do you expect us to roll through every team? Now, I will say this, Michael Clay, the special teams coach, he's doing a lot. He's actually been responsible for 2 wins in a row, which is unusual in the NFL. But we got a lot to talk about.
And you know what's been, and this will lead into our guest. When I did a lot of radio back whenever years it was, Andy Reid's years, when I was on WIP a lot, I was on a lot with our guests. We used to ask. This was before the Eagles even got to a Super Bowl. Before they lost to New England back under Andy, we'd always ask if the Eagles win a Super Bowl. If we tell you they're going to win a Super Bowl this year, and the next 3 years are going to be really bad, would you take it? 9 out of 10 said, "Oh God, I'd take 5 bad." Of
course.
I don't care what happens next. Well, now they won 2, and people were complaining about wins.
Yeah,
well, they lost.
I agree with you. I got to scratch my head. Hey, listen, let me thank our sponsors. We got a new one. I'm really excited about bringing another sponsor on board. Then we're going to bring in our special guest. First of all, we're recording here at Sweet Recording Studios in Mount Laurel. Our producer today is Matt, replacing our normal producer, Joe Gangemi, who runs the place. If you are looking to do a podcast, go to sweetrecording.com. Our great friend at Citywide Mortgage, Chris Wilhelm. You can reach Chris at 609-234-4304. He can handle all of your financial needs as it regards to mortgages. Please contact Chris at 609-234-4304. my great buddy Anthony DiGirolamo of DiGirolamo Financial. If you need financial advice, insurance advice, Tony is a one-stop shop. Contact Tony at 609-541-7515. That's Tony DiGirolamo, 609-541-7515. And our brand new sponsor we want to welcome in, Adjust Your Sleep Mattress Boutique. Kelly Wernersbach runs the place. And let me just say, if you Adjust Your Sleep Mattress Boutique, located in Marlton, New Jersey, did you know that sleep is essential to your health and your sleep system is the foundation of optimal rest? If you think your sleep game is championship level, think again. At Adjust Your Sleep, we specialize in men's health with precision, pain-free systems built to boost your stamina, performance, and recovery. Now you're going to make me buy a new mattress. Whether you're grinding through the week or gearing up the same day, we've got custom mattresses for every budget. Change your mattress, change your life. Call Kelly at 856-357-3640 and take your sleep to Super Bowl status. That was very well written, Kelly. Thank you. Obviously, I didn't write that. A really good pro wrote that spot. And now we're going to bring in a guy who I've known for quite a while. And I did some research on him today, and I'm actually 3 years younger than this guy, who looks about 25 years younger than me. And when we bring him on the screen, you're going to know what I'm talking about. The great Garry Cobb is joining us. Garry, how do you do it, man? I stood next to you the other day. Put the bumps in all the right places, in the shoulders and the pecs, and mine has drifted down to the midstream. How do you do it, man? Hey, I got some white in the hair. You got nothing? I mean, what's going on, man? Seriously.
Well, it's called coloring.
Okay. Hey, full disclosure. I love it.
It's called coloring. But anyway, yeah, because in fact, over at the gym, we're over there, in fact, I need to get over there more. But anyway, we have a good time. But yeah, I don't take all of the age thing that seriously. But I do try to exercise, try to get some exercise in, and take care of myself. Try to. I can't say I'm doing a great job at it, but try to do a little bit there.
Well, I'm embarrassed to tell you, I have a gym in my basement, and I walk past it every once in a while and count that as a workout. So let's talk about the Eagles. And Jalen Hurts had an up and down game. He wound up 15 for 24 with only 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. A couple of were very crafty plays that I want to talk about. But he was 0 for 8 in the second half. They jammed up Barkley a little bit. He really couldn't run that much. Starting with you, Garry, what did you think about the Eagles' performance? And do you agree that sometimes you got to give the other team credit, because that's a pretty good football team, right?
Well, I agree. They did start out. I thought I was really excited about the start of the game because they were aggressive. They were a lot more aggressive, and they went out and they really were on the attack. They were throwing the football. They were mixing things up. I like some of the changes they made, and the way they had some new plays in the red zone. They had some new plays, with the tush push.
The fake tush push. Loved it. They did not see that coming at all.
They had no idea. I mean, to see a guy go into the end zone, and have, nobody even in the screen. These guys didn't anywhere near him and everything. So that was great and everything. I just thought, that I think as they go on, and, it's all about winning. As you said, it's about winning. And you're not going to play your perfect ball at the beginning of the season. And probably in a lot of ways, it's not best to play your perfect ball. You want to be getting better as the season goes along. And that's what position they're in. And they know they got tremendous room for growth. But I thought that they kind of turned things off at halftime. You go in there at halftime and, hey, we're going to run the ball on these guys, blah, blah, blah. Rather than, look, these guys are hard to run the ball on. That doggone Vita Vea sitting there in the middle is like a running over a rock with your car, So I thought that they did come out, though. I did like the first half. I think they just, you get against these better teams, you got to play a full game, and that's what it's going to come down to. But, I couldn't say that I don't like the position they're in, because they know they can play much better, but yet they're finding ways to win. So that's the place to be in. And I think they're going to get better and better as the season goes along, and I see good things in their future.
I agree with you. And before I throw it to Mark, I'll just mention that, it takes offenses time to gel. Players today, the starting players for the Eagles and many other teams, they don't get any live action in the preseason. Yep. So there's a timing issue there that it just takes time to get to that point. Now, some teams are doing better than others at it, but I think that's one of the things that might be affecting the Eagles. So, Mark, what'd you think about the Eagles offense? And overall, I mean, we're 4-0, right?
I think I don't know. I'm far away from it now, but I thought yesterday's win was better than most of the. Yeah, I'm going to say it was better than any of the first three wins, because they won the game. In my opinion, they stumbled in the second half, but they built up that big lead. Garry, as a player, sometimes you get that big lead. It's 103 degrees on the field. You want to get out of there. Okay, let's I can go home. I'm dying here in this heat. And you had a comfortable lead. That first half counted. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They dominated the first half. So, like the Dallas game opening, that one I wasn't so impressed with, because Miles Sanders fumbled it away and CeeDee Lamb dropped it away. Dallas lost that game more than the Eagles, in my opinion, more than the Eagles. The Eagles won, but the Dallas lost. Kansas City, Kelsey drops a ball at the goal line, and it bounces into the rookie safety's hands. He brings it back. Again, and Andy went for it on 4th and 1 when he never does stuff like that. I could say Kansas City lost that game. But Kansas City lost it. Rams get 2 field goals blocked. I mean, this game, the Eagles came out. All right, they did block the punt right away, which, like you said, Clay's got to get a raise if he hasn't got one already.
Yeah.
They won that game yesterday. And I say all the time, I think Tampa Bay is one of the most underrated teams. I think Todd Bowles is one of the most underrated coaches in this league. They go to the playoffs. You never hear anybody talk about Tampa. You hear about Eagles, you hear Rams, you hear 49ers, you hear Lions and Packers. You never hear anybody mention Tampa. But come January, they're still playing when a lot of teams aren't.
Well, I got a question for both of you guys. Has anybody ever seen Brett Favre and Baker Mayfield in a picture together? Because I think they're the same guy. Right? I mean, he's got that gunslinger mentality. He buys time with his feet. Now, he made a big error in the fourth quarter, that interception. That was first down. You don't have to force the ball there, but that's his DNA. That's the way he rolls. He buys time. He's trying to make something happen. Garry, what'd you think about him?
Well, you're right in that he makes a living. He's been able to come out and really he's the fight. He's the guy that keeps Tampa Bay fighting. And so that he's going to be slinging it, and he usually makes big plays. But that was an awful decision, because he was rolling, because it was first down. They're already in the red zone. You're taking points off the board and everything by doing that. And ultimately, the turnovers really had a huge, place in the game, because without the turnovers, the Eagles, maybe they don't win the game, but they forced those turnovers. The fumble was key. That pass down there in the red zone that was picked off, that was taking points off the board. And so ultimately, of course, and the punt block, all of that was really the key to the game. And ultimately, that could have been what decided the game. And that's the way the Eagles play. And really, if you don't turn the ball over, I tell you, you're going to win a lot of games just by not turning the ball over, because the other team turns the ball over and, you're going to get a W.
Listen,
that's the stats.
Hurts had a mediocre game, but no turnovers again. 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. It's an important stat. The other thing about Mayfield, he's a trash talker. Man, he gets in guys' face, and he's talking smack.
And he's not that big too.
No, I know.
Yapping, little guy there yapping.
Well, I guess when he's got Wirfs in his back pocket, who's about 350 pounds, so I guess he feels protected.
That's true. Yeah.
Mark, let's talk a little bit about the defense, because I see some things in guys that are really impressive. First of all, Quinion Mitchell is a star. I mean, he's already a star. Is going to be a Pro Bowl cornerback for a long time. His coverage skills, his hand-eye coordination. Cooper DeJean, who is not quite a fleet of foot, I would say, as Quinion Mitchell, has the same kind of hand-eye coordination and ball skills. Zach Bond, blitzing, an athletic linebacker that can cover people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I find this defense really, really packed with talent. And of course, we haven't even mentioned Jalen Carter, who got a little nicked yesterday, and Jordan Davis. Defensively, how do you like what the Eagles are doing?
I like all the guys you mentioned, but they need another corner. They need another.
Well, Kaylee Ringo is not going to cut it. I mean, if he's not holding, he's going to get beat. That was obvious yesterday.
Paul and George are okay, but not Ringo.
Yeah. wait a minute. I'm going to put a star next to that one. You can't use that one for the rest of the year now, Mark.
I just have
Ringo for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Corey Jackson's not the answer either. They need. I mean, you can't give up 2 70-yard touchdown passes. Somebody's got to be accountable.
Well, the one was Campbell. Campbell got beat on a scramble. I mean, listen, and it's a linebacker trying to cover a running back. I get that. But Makuba actually was responsible, I thought, for the other deep touchdown.
I like the front. I do. I think you're going to miss Nolan Smith a little bit, but they
did miss him yesterday. They didn't get a lot of heat on Mayfield, or not many sacks anyway.
But and again, I go back to this all the time. I don't understand why they let Darius Slay go. I know he's a little older, but one more year, I understand why. I guess I should say I don't know why. I know why. Money and age. But you want to let a guy. This looks like the old Eagles to me that used to let guys like they let Brian Dawkins go and they took him 20 years to take his place. Have somebody ready at least. I guess.
Garry, that's an important point. And I mean, you got Slay. You probably could have gotten one more year. Now, I understand if you've got a potential good or great player waiting in the wings, you cut Slay go. But the Eagles don't have to worry about the money. I mean, so what's your opinion on that?
Well, they just made a mistake. I mean, they thought the kid was ready to play. He's big. I mean, foot speed. I mean, if you have him out there racing, but some guys, they run fast in the 40-yard dash, but they play slow.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can't explain it, but out in practice, he can't cover anybody. The kid. But if he gets over there and say, yeah, man, he might be the fourth fastest guy on the team. And the thing is, they let. They probably look back and they probably, wish they had kept Isaiah Rodgers.
That's another one you mentioned. He's not
fast too, but they decided that they were going to let him go, and they thought Ringo was the guy. But
that's hard. That's hard for me to believe.
They did it.
Really is.
They say he runs like a 4.3. Yeah. He doesn't play like he runs a 4.3 though. You see guys slower than him just taking off, running away from him. Sometimes you just can't explain some things, but I will say this about Kenyon Mitchell. I think he's got greatness in his future and everything, but be a little smarter. You're grabbing a guy who's 325 pounds. He's got him by his face, man.
Yeah.
Like, kid, what are you doing, man?
He's either really brave or pretty dumb. Those are the two thoughts that came to my mind.
But he's talented, but they really need to talk to him about that because, it's like he's really picking a fight with this guy.
Yeah.
Worse, he got him by the face, man. It's like, dude.
Yeah, he pulled his helmet off, actually.
I mean, and he's probably going to get fined for that too. Because that's blatant. I mean, he's got the guy by the face mask. Really fortunate he didn't get thrown out of the game. See, and that's another thing, which is, look, be smart, okay? We cannot afford you getting thrown out of the game. Because whatever, the guy said something to you, whatever, get back in the huddle, and they got to have somebody come out and smart enough to, when his teammates come out, look, because it looks like he's just out of control, man. I'm going like, dude, get somebody your size. This guy's 350 pounds, whatever it is, and you over there acting like you really want to fight the guy now.
Well, here's another thing, Garry. You and I played back in the day where there wasn't any security. Guys would be waiting for you in the tunnel if you came out and did something like that. I had the equipment manager trying to defend me. It wasn't going to do me any good. So I learned long ago not to do that. Hey, let me talk about Mark Lane Johnson. And we mentioned this last week. He had to sit out the second half again yesterday. Gary, I don't know if you've ever had stingers, but they're very painful and they're almost paralyzing. You lose the feeling in your extremities. It's a really scary feeling. Fred Johnson, I thought played okay yesterday, but it's a big loss, isn't it, Mark? Not having maybe a first ballot Hall of Famer on your line.
Yeah, I think it's coming to the end now. I think Lane. I always can tell how old a guy is by if I covered him. And I covered him. I remember and I've been going a long time. So I think it's gotten near the end. It's funny. Everybody says he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he probably is. And that's only because I guess football doesn't care about the same things baseball cares about.
Oh, that's a great point. Go ahead and expand on that. I mean, that's a great point.
He's suspended twice for steroids.
Yeah.
Suspended.
Mm-hmm.
Bonds ain't never been suspended, and he's not in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He's the best player I've ever seen. But I'm just saying.
Well, I think for years football they turned a blind eye to the steroid issue. Yeah. Gary, you can address this. I know when back, and I never took a steroid. I can take my shirt off and prove to you I never took a steroid. But some of the guys in the Eagles did, and it was widely talked about. And do you want this or don't you? And it's just the way it was. It was accepted back then to some extent. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think you're right. I think that I know when I think about the guys I played with, there were some guys that everybody knew they were taking. I know when I was with the Lions, there were guys that clearly were taking whatever they were taking, to boost themselves up and everything. And I'm trying to remember with the Eagles. I don't know if we had some guys, but I think there were a guy or two then too. So it has been part of the game, almost accepted. And there are guys in the hall that used, it's maybe they weren't as flagrant as others, but I definitely think it had been part of the game. I never really even, talked to really get into the depth of it, but I know that guys were talking that such and such was using this. And then, how I know they were using, I saw them after when they retired.
Oh yeah.
Who's this guy here?
Yeah.
So there were definitely guys using and guys that have, gotten all kind of recognition, and I just don't really think it's fair that you penalize some guys you don't penalize. So
was it legal then? Were you guys tested? When you played, Gary, when you played, did they test you for steroids back then?
No.
I didn't think so. It was
I never got tested for steroids.
I don't think it was against the rules back then. Yeah. I'm just saying, if they didn't test you, then why would I could see why guys did it. But Lane knew what he was doing. I mean, he knew he was getting tested. I'm not. Lane's a great player. I don't want people to think I'm coming out of him. I'm just saying. I'm more upset with the baseball people that Barry Bonds isn't in the Hall of Fame and Roger Clemens and some great players aren't in the Baseball Hall of Fame because they failed a steroid test or whatever.
And not to get off track here, but you think that'll ever change? You think eventually those guys will get in?
I don't think. I mean,
it sounds like they're weakening because of the Pete Rose thing. They said now he can't. He is eligible and all that. They might be.
His life's over.
Yeah. To me, listen. In my opinion, if you're banned for life, that means life. I mean, you're done. But I think
yeah. Well, sometimes though you could get somebody in power who's a friend of yours, or might see things differently, and they end up changing. So
let's talk a little bit about what I thought was the most important play of the game. It got us off to such a good start. Cameron Latou with the block punt. Three times in a row now the Eagles have made tremendous special teams plays. Gary, can you address? You're a defensive guy. I'm sure you were like me. Played some special teams from time to time.
I played on the punt. I played right there in the middle. And, I was the up back and, I was a full back and everything. So the fact that they knew that there was a problem there in the middle of that punt team, for them to do that aggressively and they did it so early in the game. So they had looked at the tape and they knew they had, whatever we call them a weak, somebody that was weak right there in the middle. And they went ahead and took advantage of it. Now, see, this is just outstanding coaching because a lot of times they say, "Oh, we'll wait till later on." No, they went ahead and jumped on it and took those 7 points. And you see how important that was in the game. But the fact that they attacked and were able to get through there, and he just did a great job of just coming through there aggressively, and he got all of the ball. Normally, you don't get it that clean, but he got there, put his arms out, he got all of it, and they were able to get the 7. And you could see really just kind of gave the Eagles the first half of the game because, Tampa they were stunned by that. You give up 7 that quick, it hits the whole team. And Tampa, they really weren't there for that first half. And that allowed the Eagles to take that big lead because it's like in a boxing match where they come out and a guy gets hit early and he's still trying to get out of it. And Tampa didn't get out of it till the second half.
Well, Garry, you were on the punt team, and Mark, you can address this too. Normally, the easiest way to protect is from the inside. You don't really see, certainly on punt, you don't see many guys getting through the inside because you got to get through the center and 2 guards, and you've got the up back there that's there for protection. So seeing something like that, Mark, was a big surprise. But can you address, Mark, the special teams, the impact that it's had for the Eagles a couple of games?
Well, that's the thing. People always, like when you read a preview of a game and people do matchups, they talk about their offensive line against their defensive line, or their receivers against their corners, and they're all important. Don't get me wrong, but most people overlook special teams. And the Eagles, I covered Eagles for a long time, as everybody knows. When they were bad, their special teams were bad. Mm-hmm. When they got really good under Andy and Donovan and that whole crew, Troy and all those guys. But people don't understand too. Their special teams, John Harbaugh's special teams, were top 5, if not top 1, almost every year. Every year they would block, and that was a big part of that Eagles' success during those years. And that's how Harbaugh became a head coach.
Yeah. I could tell you this as well. There are guys who make the team that would really struggle to play a position, but they're so good at special teams. They have that spot because special teams is so important. I played for Richard Williamson at Memphis State for a couple of years, and he used to say, offense will do it. Defense will be fine. The kicking game is going to decide a lot of the games for you because takes one play like that to turn the game around, and we saw it yesterday. We only have a couple minutes left. Let's talk briefly about Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator. He's going to get some heat because of lack of production. I get it. I thought he came up with 2 really interesting plays. We talked about the fake tush push, which caught him absolutely by surprise. But the other thing was, and I was a little mad at this because I had bet anytime Jalen Hurts touchdown score. They had the first and goal on the 2. I said, well, they're going to tush push it twice and get it in there. And they actually throw the shovel pass to Dallas Goedert, which I thought was a really good play, and turned out to be a touchdown. But can you give this guy a grade yet, Garry? Can you give him is he learning as he goes here, or are you okay with what's going on?
Yeah, well, I know that it's not just him. He's hearing it from his head coach. I'm sure the players are saying things to him, but definitely I think, that Nick is having a lot to do with what he's calling and the freedom. And I think that, he's doing a good job. I know because it's not just him making the calls, this is Nick, and sometimes, a coach can get in the way of things, but I could see him fighting through everything. He's gotten W's. I could see the group is growing. They do have some work to do where they got to step it up. But so far, I give them a thumbs up, because they find ways to win.
Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm listen. Wins. He's 4-0, and listen. Could he, as Garry said before, can they get better? Yes, well, and they probably will. But for now, I'm not going to fail him. That's for sure. He's doing. I know AJ Brown's upset about something. He put something.
Yeah, what's up with that cryptic Instagram post? Why, Garry? Why you want to do that?
Well,
seriously?
The thing.
I know he's frustrated. AJ, I get it.
AJ, if I would talk, AJ, they're throwing the ball to you, dude. Right. They threw the ball to you yesterday.
You do have to get open.
You got to get open. They're doubling you and everything, but they were trying to get the ball to you yesterday. Now, some of the other games, maybe you could have said something. Come on, they threw the ball 8 times to you yesterday, dude. It's gonna come. Just be patient. It's gonna come. They're throwing the ball to him. So
that was disappointing to me.
Yeah.
For a locker room that seems to be all together. I think to take that, and he might regret it. He might retract it. Who knows?
Got it earlier on the touchdown. He's having a good. I mean, you know that they say sometimes the best trade you make is the one you don't make.
Yeah.
They were trying to trade that. I mean, if you remember, right around the draft, there were lots of rumors that the Eagles were looking to move Goddard.
Yeah.
And they either couldn't find a team that was willing to give up an offer. I don't know what happened, but fortunately for the Eagles, they didn't trade him and kept him. He's a
really good player. If he can stay in the field, he's a really important piece for the Eagles.
Anything I would question the Eagles about is Calcaterra. You know, my backup tight end has got to be able to block. We run the ball. I mean, I don't understand it, but you know.
Yeah. Well, I guess they love him for his pass receiving. He did catch a big pass. So listen, we're ahead. We're 4-0. Washington's 2-2. Dallas 1-2-1. I'm a little disappointed, Mark. Your Packers couldn't help us out last night. And the Giants are 1-3, and they've got some life now. They beat the Chargers at their home field with Jackson Dart. So, and we've got them coming up. We play the Giants 2 of our next 4 games, so that's going to be interesting.
This next game's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Denver's they're a tough out. They're a really good defense.
I'll look it up. Mm-hmm. I'll write it somewhere this week. But Sean Payton has had a lot of success in his career against the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
That's something to think to look at. But
by the way, he was on the Eagles staff at one point as quarterback coach.
Right.
A lot of people don't remember that. Yeah.
He was Ray's quarterback coach at one time. Ray. Oh, by the way, we should have mentioned this last week, and we forgot. Ray Rhodes passed away last week.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. You covered Ray. What kind of a guy?
Start to finish. Garry knows too. There's stories I can't tell. All time, but I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know if the FCC guides us or not, but there's things I can't say. But Ray was great. Ray, as a media person, Ray was one of the best because he would.
Yeah, he was a piece of work. I tell you that. Because there are times we go into the back, he tell you something. Now I'm going like, here I'm telling him, why did you tell me that?
I would like it. Ray would say something really outrageous. Like sexually outrageous. And then he said, oh, you can't put that in paper. Or don't put that in the paper. I'm like, Ray, I could never get that in the paper.
It's funny. Well, listen, we got to wrap it up. Great show. Hey, Garry, I appreciate you being on as always, brother, and I hope to see you at a Jersey Man event soon. By the way, Jersey Man, we've got our October issue coming out. Vic Fangio's on the cover. Mark Eckel does a nice piece on Mike Quick, a lot of football stuff in that. And our big gala, November 13th. Garry, I hope you can come this year because we're not fighting the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame anymore. So on November 13th, we're going to honor 6 charities. It's going to be a great event. We hope people will come out. If you want to get a ticket, go to jerseyman.com or email me, ken@jerseymanmagazine.com. So thank you both for being here. For my partner, Mark Eckel, for our guest, Garry Cobb, I'm Ken Dunek. Thanks for watching the Bird Brains, everybody, and we will see you next week. Go Birds!
Okay, go Birds.
Garry, excellent. Thank you.
All righty.